Why? Oh, let's take this down. Yeah, we're going to take this down. Just going to do a flow. There we go. Now I go wild. Right on. There we go. Okay. Had my hair up and it was just, so now I'm taking it down. There we go. Crazy. Hi, welcome everybody. It's been a while. It's been a quick minute, that's for sure. So hopefully everybody's doing well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Dana, I sent you an email back, but you never responded, sweetheart. So we sort of missed each other's window. So sorry about that. So there we go. Put my hair down. Here I am. Let's get into the 411 of the crazies, right? So yeah, I responded about a few minutes right after you sent the email, and I responded right away back to you. So, but hey, it is what it is, right? And then I got busy. Just been busy, 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 busy. So busy just doing a lot of writing, a lot of I have my March container starting, my March, April, May container starting. So if you want to join me, I have the recordings done. I have a full moon, new moon workbook. It is going to help you to keep grounded. It's going to help you to keep focused over the next few months as we are going through huge transformation and changes within the world, right? And in the way how things are going. And yes, did people come and contact me? Hey, Iran got attacked. Yes, I know Iran got attacked. Actually, I kind of speculated that they would be this weekend anyways, the way everything was leading up and the talks and everything. So it is going to be something that is not boom, United States went in there, Israel went in there, and then it's going to be done. There's other things that are going to be unfolding over the course of the next few weeks of the onslaught of the cray of what is happening and unfolding at this at this time. So what do we have going on? A little bit of the shenanigans that are happening. Let's look a little bit on the weekend. We have a Mercury retrograde, and this little guy, this thing, which I used with my backup. This is my backup for my computer, and this is where so much. This is what I hate. Oh, so much information is on this, and anyways, and this goes into my computer. It's a B, I don't know, BAC, whatever kind of plug. So I needed this plug to be into my computer so that this plug can go into my computer to help with the backup. There you go. Don't know the technical names. You can tell me what the technical names are, but I don't know. I just, they are. Anyways, as I was walking up the stairs at my daughter's, this fell out, and then this little thingy got loose and never went back to normal again, just like me. Get a little bit of a bump and you're not back to normal again. So anyway, so I had to order some new ones, which I did, and they should be coming in today. See, yeah, I can see. Yeah. So, anyways, say la vie. But that's what Mercury retrograde. I'm blaming it on that. But I made sure that this was still working. I tried it out on another computer, so a little light went on. That's all I cared about. So it's working. That fell out. What is it? It's a little thingy. See? Yeah, that goes in. This goes, it's a converter. So this goes into your computer. So you have some, the little outlets, right? And not every computer has all the same outlets. So then this will go into here. However it goes in, like that goes into that, and then you plug it into your computer, right? And it works. So there you go. That's what that is. The joys of Mercury retrograde. But this Mercury retrograde is not like any other. This is where you really have to really be backing up things. Definitely back up things. Make sure that you are, with your phone. like a dongle. Yeah, that's what you call it. I call it a thingamajig because that word just sounds like something else. Um, and that's not what they called it on Amazon. Um, didn't call it that. So this is with Mercury retrograde. This is where there's a lot of craziness that's happening and unfolding at this time. And with this, and this is where things can really escalate, right? So it's a very slow, reflective, reviewing time. Definitely, Venus is right there with Mercury, and they're kind of like kissing. But here's the catch: Mercury's much slower, so Venus is going to speed on ahead. And so, what does this mean, right? It means your mind is trying to process, and your heart is already knows, and that's partially what I'm doing, like with these containers that I'm doing with the March, April, May, and then as we go into June is a whole brand new um energy that I'm stepping into, and really wanting to bring in that grounding, the changes that are happening within our world, and what the changes are going to be, how we can work with the changes in order for us to live a more fulfilling life, right? And that's my goal. That's where I'm really heading to. And right now we have this moon in Leo, and Leo is about identity. Who are you? Look at me, here I am. And so this moon in a very fixed sign is saying, okay, what the hell is actually going on here? And that's what we're probably looking at in our own lives. What the hell's going on here? Where are we going? What is the direction that I'm going into? Right? And this is where this isn't surface drama. This is the nucleus level of truth. This is getting down into that mitochondria energy, right? So that's the working part of your cell is the mitochondria. That's where all the information is, right? And this is what is changing. Our nuclear energy within us is changing. We're entering into this newness of a vibration that is very cosmic, that is very surreal, because even inside real astrology and Western astrology, and I do mundane astrology, this is where it's like, man, there's changes happening. I mean, you can go back, some astrologers have gone back 10,000 years, and with some of the alignments and everything that is happening, they have not seen it before. Right? So we are going through major nuclear changes within inside ourselves, and by the end of March, you are not going to be the same person. There is going to be a lot of things that are going to be happening, not only in our outwardly world, because everything is at very critical degrees within the astrology, but within our own energetic makeup. So this is where we start to really look at it. What do we care about? What do we value? Right? What lights me up? And where have I dimmed myself? And that those questions came really into my own self, where I had to look at what am I doing? What am I doing? And one of the biggest things that came to me were in what I am doing and what I am creating is that I'm wanting to streamline everything that I do. And I'm wanting to focus on not a thousand different ropes, which I can, and try and braid them all together, and then one goes off and then I go off in one direction. It's like I want to come in, and this is where I want to lead, because one thing I am bloody well good at, really good at, is when things are disruptive and helping people through disruption. And I think because my life is very disruptive and always has been disruptive, I've even had astrologers look at my chart and say, huh, yeah, you got kind of a crazy chart there, Mary. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Um, but it's because I've come in here to learn this, to be able to help and guide others, because that's the other part of my calling. And for me, being in a time, in an age of what they call wisdom, in a time and an age where I am, where things are changing, and not only on a molecular level, but also in a outwardly worldly level. So my offerings are really going to start to be very finite and changing into a new direction. And I even did a reading with the Leo King. I was honored to get one. It was a very short one. It was very quick. It was like maybe 5 minutes, and he was. It was like I didn't tell him anything. I said I'm just looking for direction. He goes and he was just like bang 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 bang, and I was like, holy shit. Yes, that's boom. And to get something like that, it was something that yeah, I was quite honored to have that. And it was something that to have somebody who doesn't know me, like I know him from being online and everything else, and I've followed him for a long time. But I mean, this is a guy has a million followers, right? And it's just like when Colette Baron Reeds gave me a reading. And this is a woman who, like, I didn't go up there. Like everybody who went up to Colette, it was like, "What is my calling? What do I need to do?" And I just went up and I said, and I just looked at her. I said, "I just need to know." She goes, "Yeah, you need to know about your son." Boom. I didn't tell her about my son. I didn't tell her about anything that was going on at that time with my child, right? And she just went through and she even pulled me aside out of everybody that was in that on that little retreat, that goddess retreat. And that goddess retreat was gifted to me. And um pulled me aside, and her handlers were like, Colette, you got to get back, people need autographs and stuff. She goes, no, she goes, this is important, and I need to talk to this woman. And we sat and we talked for like 20 minutes, and that was not her scheduled time. And if anybody ever tried to get a reading with Colette, you can't get a reading with Colette. It was quite meaningful to me, you know. So me getting gifted a reading, like, just it was just, I don't know, a fluke thing that came, and I responded to it. And he was live online, and then I started chatting back. And I don't usually chat to people live online very often. I just sort of watch, do, like hopefully many of you there. And bang, he just like zoned in, right? Right. It was just divine intervention from the angels above, I believe. So, anyways, this is where it is, what lights me up? Where have I dimmed myself? And many times you got to look at, where have you dimmed yourself? It might be that you have not stepped into your light. You've not stepped into the truth of who you are. Or maybe you have so many things on the go that you're trying to do it all. You're trying to fill up all these cups, and you don't even realize you're trying to fill up all the cups, right? And with this moon, and it's opposing Pluto in Aquarius right now, there is tension between the future, the collective, the massive shifts happening out there. That's why you see, like, I kind of knew today would be the day with a lot of things with Iran, because it has to do with future. It has to do with a lot of massive shifts that are going to be happening in the Middle East. Right? So this is, as I said, this is like a holy war that's unfolding on many, many, many different levels. And with Saturn in Aries, this is ahead of Neptune. It's identity restructuring. So we are restructuring who we are, right? And I'm just like, wow. And I have Jupiter in Aries. And I'm just like, yeah, this is really big expansion for me. This is really huge for me, because for having a Jupiter and Saturn conjunction for your own personal, happens what, every about 30, like, well, by the time he goes around, I'd say about every 36 years. And I got to look at like 36, what was happening to me 30 when I was 36, 37. Wow. There's a lot of transformation and changes that were happening in my life like that. A new identity that was coming in. And again, this is now another restructuring. This is another identity that is coming in, that's restructuring. And with this is like not the version chasing the shiny spiritual trends, right? That's not where we're at. We're not here to chase, the next, sort of, oh, what is I don't know, the next Doreen Virtue kind of thing, right? Even though Hay House has very much tried to bring in a new one, right? This is where things are going to be looking at what is grounding, what is real, How can we ground this and create this within our third dimensional world and not get entangled with the craziness of the matrix, right? Okay, and that is crucial. Oh, Dana just wrote like the commercial airspace. Yes. Oh, definitely, it would have to be shut down. The United States is in the air. Everything's going to be shut down, right? Everything will be shut down. And another thing, just on a side note, if anybody's traveling, I'm just saying over the next little while, if you're traveling, I mean, we saw what happened in Mexico. And I know a lot of people are saying everything's fine in Mexico. That was very strategic. Okay. Now, anything, if you know about the art of war or warfare, there's a way of doing things and getting things into place. And I think the cartel is very much getting things into place. I do think the president of Mexico, looking at her chart, she's very much entangled with the cartel. But that's just me going off on a little craziness there. Whoop. But it's where things are being set up very strategically, definitely. And definitely anything in that area will be shut down for quite some time right now as they're doing it. I have a lot of Iranian friends who are very elated that this is happening but it's going to take, it's going to take some time in bringing in that restructuring, right? Ousting one, crazy leader, you have to make sure that whatever you're wanting to come in to replace it is something that's going to be structurally sound and not only beneficial for, it's got to be beneficial for the whole country, for the people that live there, because Iran is a very multicultural country. It's a huge country. It's a country. It's the Persians were extremely intelligent people. I mean, their IQ is they have one of the highest IQs in the world. The Persian people, they are very smart. They are the ones, their ingenuity on going back even into ancient history in many of the things that they've created and done. So there's this energy that is coming in that is getting us to really look at things in an honest way. And Venus exalted is asking, where are my dreams? Like, she's in Pisces. She loves Pisces, right? She's exalted because she gets to float and dream. She doesn't have to be like she's in Virgo, where it's like, holy fuck, you mean I got to go in and scrub the potatoes? Oh, I got to feed these people? Here she gets fed, right? This is where you got to look at where your spiritual alignment is. Where's the value that actually matches your soul? Not what looks good, not what sounds spiritual, but what aligns truly with you and what that alignment looks like. Okay? Because Mars finishing up with Uranus tension, Mars from that square, Mars is moving away, right? And we felt the friction, the instability. And as you move away from something like that, that can release tension. And when you release that tension, there could be an explosion. There could be something that happens that is that tension was trying to keep it all together, and now it shifted, has created something where, oh, okay, your system has to recalibrate everything that is going on. It's like the Christmas effect, right? You have all that stress, that friction before Christmas and getting everything done and getting everything da 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 da. And then it's like, oh my God, and things that's where people get sick and stuff like that. So this is where you got to look at what the direction I am actually choosing. And here's a few things, you cannot keep beating your head against the wall trying to fix something that is structurally done. The season is over. This weekend makes that very clear. You can't continue doing it the same old way that you've been doing it, whatever that is, right? If you're thinking they're eating the bonbons on the couch is going to help you to get physically fit, right? If you think that you can give people 100 different offers, right? No. It's coming into looking at what is that direction that you want to go. Doesn't mean you don't have other interests, right? And the thing is that for me personally, it's really with this week that I took off really gave me that insight. And it didn't come, right away. It didn't come till I was actually doing my doodling and moodling, and it just like, whoa, this is where I'm heading, right? And this is where, where is your heart? Is your heart in it? Because there is a lot that we are aligning with. And this is where for for many of my audience 40 and above, uh the midlife clarity. This is financial stabilization before emotional steadiness. This is where your nervous system grounding before expansion. Identity refinement before visibility, right? The version of you chasing multiple strings, as I was talking about, is dissolving. And I think that's dissolving for all of us. And that's really my direction in helping people to create a more streamlined energy, right? And Kyle isn't 40 yet. Well, I'm talking to women. Like my audience is 40 and above, are women. That's my audience. You know, yes, I have other people who are not 40, but that's my audience is 40 and above. And this is where this weekend is a preview. It's a March is the commitment, not frantic, not chaotic, locked and loaded, but grounded. That's where this energy is coming in. And this is where we are, where you're not holding a higher value of yourself, where all where where are you still trying to fix what is structurally over? And where are you being asked to ascend, not by force, but by courage? And to enjoy your weekend, to enjoy finding something that lights your heart, stay spiritually connected, and don't spiral into the collective chaos. Because there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be unfolding over the next little while that is going to get people where uh, scattered and in many different directions. And I feel like this alignment is perfect with the change that not only what I'm making in my own business, but we're women that are coming to me and wanting the guidance, right? And this is where you're not scattered anymore, and bringing in more of a structure that is bringing more magnetic energy into our alignment of where we want to go, right? And I feel that so much is definitely unfolding right now. And I was just listening to um a podcast, and on the podcast, and I love him, is Craig. His name is Craig. And he is very intuitive. He's very clairvoyant. Um and I feel like this energy is bringing in a lot of definite changes that are coming in. And these changes are bringing in a lot of um UFO energy, definitely. um with a lot of alignments that are coming in that are coordinated with things that are going to be exposed to everyone, and things that are going to be in our faces. We're going to have things like a rare alignment of the outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, and they're going to be in a sextile. And these three shifting signs, within a short window, it's a very historical, you know, with Pluto in Aquarius, and Neptune in Aries, and then we have Uranus is going into Gemini. This is very technological shifts that we're going to be having, economic restructuring. And I know you said Kyle isn't 40 yet. This is a prime time, because of Kyle's age, to really look at how is he structurally looking at his economic world, and how he can structure that world for himself, because he is in a very prime time in order to do that, right? And this is also where we're also looking at generational value resets. They don't This is where we don't, reliable this is where um we're looking at many things that are coming in from like cycles that are coming in, like the Roswell, the Phoenix Lights. I don't know if you guys ever remember the Phoenix Lights. And I remember hearing about the Phoenix. Yeah, he is dead, the Iranian leader. Anyways, um, yeah, he is dead. But there's many heads to the snake. Put it that way. So there's many heads to the snake. So that are going to be unfolding in Iran. Um, the thing is that there's so many things that are coming in that are going to bring in a lot of changes. Now, going back to the Phoenix Lights are it's when a spaceship, a UFO, was over Phoenix and many people saw it. And then they did a huge cover up. And then it wasn't until later that they came out and they said, nah, that there was something there, right? So things like that are going to come in. Even what happened, there was a crash and it was in Brazil, and they got off the spaceship and they went straight into the hospital. And I guess they left such a stench, right? And the United States came in and that was in 96, that crash in Brazil that happened. Also, what happened, the craziness that happened in Miami, right? So going back to January 1st, 2024. And, speculative, what they say it was actually heading for the South Pole. And they, I guess, misjudged and they ended up at the mall. Guess they had some shopping to do. But that, I mean, you got to think, if you remember that there was so much police and helicopters, and the US Army came in as well very quickly. So there are things that are going to be coming out more so in our world, and especially over this next month. We're going to be seeing a lot of information coming out that's going to come in about all of this. This is where we're going to find that things to do. And I was talking about this the other day in my recording about medicine, and a lot of new innovative, especially where Uranus is and Pluto, and even with the Jupiter opposition that's going to be happening in, I think, June, um, with that opposition that's going to be happening, and with Pluto, and then Jupiter trining Neptune. There's going to be some very cool innovations when it comes to medicine that are going to be coming out. So, we're also in a cure of timeline for cancer and diabetes. They're very, very complex, but I feel like there's innovations like that are going to be actually coming out more so on these types of ailments, right down to Alzheimer's and the things to do with Alzheimer's. And this is where it's information coming through, with also through our food and the changes through our food, and what's happening with what we are consuming and what we are intaking within our body, not only on a physical, but it could be on a metaphysical alignment as well, with things that are coming in. And and these breakthroughs are going to come in like through biotech innovations, global collaborations. And that's part of that planetary alignments that are coming in. They're showing that these things are going to be coming in, right? And this is where we need to look at um, how we are adapting to a lot of the changes that are coming in. We hear a lot of the negative things. We hear about the 15-minute cities. We hear about things that are happening in Iran. We hear about the craziness that are unfolding, right? And this is where we are looking at you know just wait. So this is where it's where we are looking at things in a very new way, right? And we're looking at things in a way of the ancients, and looking at things that information that has come through to us. And this is where I feel like we all have to look at right now, watching our bank accounts, be mindful of travel, making sure that we're backing things up is very important right now with Mercury retrograde. Uh, we are finding that, things like cryptocurrency is very volatile. The financial system could be wobbly. I don't see, yes, definitely a crash, but I think there's actually, when something crashes like that, I think there's, if you're able to be innovative enough and smart enough, you're able to create abundance through that, and create that abundance of you being able to do that. And I think that's very, very important. And this is where also the energies that are coming in, where I feel like, and especially with Trump suddenly referencing more UFO files, and the timing, being very interesting in this 2026, and just allowing a lot more of this information out. And that again goes back to a lot of things like with the Roswell, and with the Phoenix lights and the Brazilian sightings that have been recorded. And a lot of people were said, oh, that's sus, or that's not true. And now we're coming out, yeah, it is. We can go back to, in India, the naughty leaves, ancient palm manuscripts speak of disclosure long before modern politics. Some of these manuscripts list names of people who will consult them. They've spoken of governments revealing knowledge of non human intelligence. And these scripts go back before the Ice Age, right? And then they're updated every 500 years, you know. And so there's information here on our earth that, we're not privy to, or they don't want to share with us, or they don't want to bring it to us. And I feel like this is where we are coming into this alignment of bringing it in. And that's why our molecular system is changing, because it's in order for us to come into this new, I'm going to call it ascension, this newness that's coming in, this new vibrations that are coming in, and changing a lot of our nuclear cellular programming, right? And our cells regenerate every 21 days, right? So our cells generate every 21 days. That's why when we are doing a mantra, we do it for like 21 days. It's starting to program our cells with a new vibration, a new energy, right? And then if we do it for 40 days, 40 days is a very prime one, then it's actually within us. This is part of our vibration. This is where we start to begin to live more within that mantra vibration, right? Because um it's in that writing within ourselves that's bringing in this vibration. And then some people will go, 80 days, will go even longer to 160. Sometimes people will do a certain mantra for many years in order for them to become more and more within the vibration, right? And that's why many mantras are timed, right? To not go over like a 3-minute time or a 21-minute time, because it's within that time frame, that vibrational time frame, that this is when you do things. This is when it works. If you go over, it can actually distort the vibrational energy of it, and then it can change that vibrational energy within you, right? So it's very, interesting when we're looking especially into a lot of things from India, and the information that comes in India. I mean, India is a very fascinating place. Yeah, we see that it's dirty and gross, and we have all these people, blah blah blah. But I'm talking about the ancient culture, their gods, going into the Hindi gods. They talked about going around in spaceships. Their gods are what? Blue? They have many arms, right? So this is where, there's information there, and sometimes it gets hidden, or they don't want you to know about it, or it gets crushed. And this is where I feel like, even within something here is more is going to be revealed in Europe, possibly a connected to the sea, an old crash, or something that has been suppressed is going to come up. But this is what I'm feeling. This isn't about an invasion, it's about a consciousness and awareness coming in. And there are healing advancements that are coming with all of this. And yeah, we can talk about funding, we can talk about corporations, we can talk about all of this, but I feel like this change or this vibration is bringing it in where it's not going to be just with one group. It's not going to be like just with the one percenter. This is when things come down into the grassroots where these changes start to happen, and these new vibrational energies start to come in. I mean, in 1896, that was the era of the X-ray discovery, right? And we can look at that last significance with the Mars conjunction cycle. And when the X-ray came out, it was like, oh, you can't do that. That's wrong. And of course, it was like it it had a lot of bumps in the road, definitely, to do it. But the advancements it made when especially when for tuberculosis, right? To see the masses on the lungs, and doing a lot of these x-rays, and having these x-ray machines eventually travel around from community to community to check on people who are ill, and who needed, say, an x-ray, especially when they had another tuberculosis outbreak. I think it was in the 50s, right? And so these advancements, I mean, that was from 1896 to the 50s, right? And then to where today with our modern history, with our modern medicine. And we don't think of anything about going in and getting an x ray done or an MRI, from an x ray to an MRI. You don't think of any, you don't even, oh, yeah, we're going in for an MRI. It's just, yeah. So these advancements now from 1896 say that that's over 100 years ago. These advancements are going to be happening a lot faster, a lot quicker. So we got to look at even back to 1997 when the internet came in. And now where are we with the internet? Where the advancements that we have Starlink, right? And we don't even think about it. So these are the things that are coming in, and they're coming in rapidly. And learning so many new things and new perspectives that are coming in, and the expansions that are coming forward. And yeah, they feel like dark times, yes, but I also find that they're a time that through this is evolving and allowing us to evolve. The rishis, the great teachers, are returning, not as one figure, not as a savior, but as waves of awakening, people gradually remembering who they are. That's all going back to that nuclear restructuring, that awakening of, yeah, this is what I came here to do, right? There might have been other things that I had to do along this earth walk in order for me to get to where I am today. And we face the validity through till August, and around the 22nd, I think, I see something significantly globally happening, possibly affecting leadership energy. So September feels tense, November feels spiritually like a catalytic. And I feel like there's something also to do, and not necessarily with Trump himself, but something to do with his family, and that's in August. I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure, what it could be, but something there happens in and around that time too. So because we also have the July 4th, it's their 250th birthday. So it's going to be quite a big show that's going to be played around the world at that time. But there's a lot of craziness and that's going to be unfolding, over this time. 2026 is the catalyst year, is the year of us changing, and our bodies, the word morphine coming in, but the transformation of us. And one of the key things that I feel, for me, and the direction I'm going is working with women over 40. working with these, from 40 to 60, which is very much the millennials. Um, and working with that generation that is that is looking for the grounding, looking for that spiritual direction, looking for a place where they can come in and sort of plant their feet, right? So we're coming into a time of the, well, millennials and Gen X, I guess, energy, that they're looking for something, and they're also a generation that has been overlooked, and overlooked in many, many different ways, right? Um, and they're not exactly the ones that are coming in to be that leader, right? So this is like part of the Pluto Virgo, the Pluto Scorpios, and because it's the Pluto's the Pluto Libras, part of the Pluto Libras are the ones who are coming in to be more of the leaders that are going to be coming forth. And that's kind of that generation that's coming in. Anyways, oh, crazy. But we are coming into, like, for November feels very spiritually catalyst, like this catalyst that's unfolding for us. And right now, all of the chaos and nuttiness that's coming in is unfolding in many, many different ways, right? This is coming into being the real awakening, but it's happening inside the human heart. It's happening inside all of us as we are going through all of this. So, as we go back, and I'm going to bring you back into today, into the energies that are happening right now, is very much that we have to be grounded. We might be feeling very scattered, we might be feeling very overwhelmed, and with everything especially with the attack with Iran, with what just happened, with Mexico. It's crazy. There's a lot in on people's plates. There's a lot that's unfolding. I sent out everybody's full moon reading, so I'm hoping you got it, because it really, I feel like those full moon readings, especially as we're entering into the lunar eclipse, looking at things that are going to be uncovered with this lunar eclipse this week. This week is going to be quite crazy. Just, when it comes economically, when it comes to a lot of people spiritually. And so it's very important. And I'm so happy that we are going to start this March workbook, where this March workbook is going to be helping us to look at things in a more loving way, in a way that's going to bring in that clarity for ourselves, and that looking at with the clarities comes the endings, and what those clarity and endings are within our own alignments, right? And then I will be sending out, for the people who have joined the March containment, is you're going to be getting your Virgo full moon workbook, um, that I did this week, and I restructured it. And because I have a lot of different templates in my drawer, right? And and with that, with a lot of these templates that I have, I've added on to them, and it's great that I have these things, because they really, whoo, just got dizzy. Something just came through. With this energies that are coming in, we really need to learn the grounding, and the grounding is going to be so important. And as I said, thank you, Cynthia, for joining. With this energy that's coming in, we're not going to be the same people by the end of March. It's not going to be the same world. We're in a diabolical, transformational new alignment. And in this new alignment is yeah, there's a lot of beauty and a lot of um sacredness that comes in it, but there's a lot of, unfortunately, because we live in a three-dimensional world, there is going to be a lot of war. There's going to be a lot of people struggling. There's going to be a lot of people trying to figure out the figure out, right? And That's okay because we have to go through that chaos. And in comes, because I was talking about India, and of course, who is diabolical and chaotic out of all the Indian gods? So not well, she is one of them. It definitely is Kali. And that energy of Kali coming in, and that energy of transformation and change comes in. And along comes the beautiful goddess of Brigitte. Brigitte she's diabolical, she's changed, she's very warrior like as well. She's the one who blessed the warrior, the men going out to war. If you conceived either on the embolic or on May Day, because those are times of fertility, of bringing in the newness. And if you conceived on those days, a special you would get a special, not a plaque, but an armor would be made especially for that child, whether female or male, right? Because they looked at it and they knew that something was beautiful out of this energy, right? So out of the craziness and the chaotic, and you got to think of things that are blooming and coming through the earth. Yeah, it's not, you got to think that this little seed is pushing up through all that dirt to grow. And that's what we're doing. We're pushing up through all the dirt to grow, to expand, right? So if you were, took part of for my class last month, look at how much we've grown since then. Look at how much we've done since February. Look at the garden that you are planting, and things that you are weaving. And that's what there was a movie, was it called Kelly? It was about I think it was an Englishman who ended up losing his job and stuff, and then he ended up having to go to India and work at a call-in center, right? And very like his, it was somebody gave him a statue of Cali and stuff. And so he didn't think anything of it. But through everything, he found like this energy of Cali took him to India, and the chaos and everything that went through, and this call-in center that people were working at, and the power went out, and this little kid went onto the roof and he fixed the power because there are no rules in India on how to do your electricity. Um, and just all the crazy chaotic energy that he had to go through. And at the end, it was like she brought him to a place of peace and serenity, brought him to a place where he did find a person that he could connect with, did find a place, an industry that he can grow and do the things that he loved to do. But in order to get there was a lot of drama and a lot of craziness and a lot of chaos. And that's where you got to understand that this is where the world is. We're in a 6,000-year diabolical change that is bringing in chaos. And that some of the things that you might be angry or mad about and upset about today are going to be kind of meaningless in just a little while, right? And so that's why I say, if you're able to, like, a lot of people are very, speculative about the market, right? And so let's look at the stock market. The stock market, of course, well, it's not only because it's February 28th, and a lot of the alignments that happened, and Saturn is past Neptune, and ahead of Neptune, of looking at the restructuring for the bombing of Iran. Yes, happening today. Is that going to affect because the markets are closed on the weekend? But that sure is going to make a huge, interesting of how the markets are going to be on Monday. Do they want the markets to die? Do they want the markets to go? No. Why? Because that's trillions of dollars. That's trillions and trillions of dollars. And part of that market, and everybody says, yeah, let it die. Well, if you think of if the market bang just went away, and everybody's thinking that we'll be in a utopia, we'd be in a very chaotic, crazy mess that Mel Gibson comes into mind, you know, and the dome. I can't, anyways, is the movie that he did, but Thunder. Um, But, this is Mad Max, thank you. We would be in a world worse than Mad Max, alright? So the market is there. Um, everything to do with what you are worried about with the Epstein files definitely has to come up because that's part of the Pluto in Aquarius, bringing up the hidden secrets, bringing up, the craziness and the evil that is happening. But if you go back in history, like, this isn't new. This shit isn't new, people. You think it's like, "Oh my god, this is all" no, it's not new. This has been going on for tens of thousands of years. It's just in your face right now because we've lived in a world that hid it away. We lived in a world that used to have asylums and hide things away in the asylums. Now they want to bring asylums back. To put women away because they had menstrual cramps or um, so many different crazy psyops that have happened over the years that we have been trained in. I mean, the feminist movement. Oh, that's a huge one. For of women in the feminist movement, and how that changed the whole dynamics of family and the concept of family. Was there good that came out of it? Yeah, there possibly was, but was there a lot of harm? Definitely, definitely, right? So these things, I mean, this is like layers and layers of the onion are being revealed. And we're going to get to a point where things are going to be like, oh, I don't want to hear anymore. I don't want to do anymore. And that's where people want to dumb it down. That's where, because so much comes out that you don't want to deal with it anymore. Like, you just like, fuck it. I don't want to hear it. I just want to live my life. I'd rather be that person who didn't know anything about the psyops that happened in 2019 and 2020. Um, I'd be much happier, but would you? You know, that's because we are on a road of ascension. We're on a road of transformation and change, and being on a road of transformation and change, excuse me, is a place where we are entering into a world that we are going to have to take more of 100% responsibility of. We're not stand at this not stand by. I mean, today, and it's funny because my husband Steve told me this today. Trump came out and he said that it's up to you. It's not up to the Americans to come in and save you. It's up to you to save yourself. In other words, you can't wait on that person or that country or that one to come and save you. It's up to you to save yourself. You want to create the state. It's not up to you to sit there and bitch about this one and that one or the way about your country. It's up to you to make those changes yourself and not fall into the rhetoric of it all. That's why we're finding like more people are coming out and speaking up against um puberty blockers for children. Like, where was it? Was it in BC? BC. They want to make it legal that a 4-year-old can use puberty blockers. You know? Like, really? Like, these are the things I had Lainey, one of an old client. She's not old, but she's one of my I'm gonna call her one of my original clients from way back in the day, and she's lesbian. I have a lot of lesbian and gay clients, but it's like, so what? Anyway, she came and she just happened. We started to discuss, and she said, she says, "Mama, I needed to reach out to you," and I'm like, "Oh, hi, how are you?" She goes, "Good." But she goes, "I had to reach out to you to let you know that I've been kicked out of the alphabet community." And I'm like, "Okay." Like, she goes, "Yeah, because I don't believe anything past the B. There might be a few Q's, but that's about it, but I don't believe anything past the B." She goes she goes, "We're all queer. We're all queer. We all have that in us." She goes, "That's nothing. But when you get into the rest of the alphabet," she goes, "No." She goes, That has nothing to do with the truth of who we are as human beings. That's just getting into a lot of grossness and a lot of mentally ill people that are trying to put an agenda on others that doesn't align with what the truth of who humans are. And I was like, "Whoa." I said, "Yeah, no." She goes, "Yeah." She goes, she goes, she thought it was funny because I guess, um, and like she's married now. Her and her wife are doing really well and everything else. But she goes, her and her wife, when they went to a gathering, they were told that they weren't welcome. And they were just like, "What the fuck?" You know? Because they didn't believe in everything else, all the rest of the agenda. The sexuality and the genders are very different things. Yeah. So they didn't agree with it. They didn't agree with it. They just when they get into the sexuality and gender, right? And they didn't. Yeah. So she thought it was quite funny, but I thought that was funny too that she reached out to tell me that. But that's the whole thing. It's like people more coming out and saying no. Even I those that I know who are trans, it's just like, so what? I'm not pushing this on children. I'm not pushing this. This is my own thing. And I did it after I was 30, or I did it after I was 40. I did it when I was in my 50s, kind of thing. I didn't do it. He goes, there's no way I would do it when I'm 18. He goes, I wasn't even mentally stable at 18, you know? But that's where we're at, right? That's where we're at. We're at this place. Have a wonderful day, Dana. We're at this place of transformation and change. We're at this place where things are being discovered and things are being opened up. And in opening up something, if you go into, say, an old house that hasn't been opened up in 100 years, is there going to be a lot of dust and mice and rats and other things in there? You might find a dead bird that's been there for a while. You know, this is where, yeah, it's going to be gross and grody, right? And there's going to be a lot of cleaning to do. And that's where we're at. But in that, you're going to discover the newness of you. You're going to find your stamina. You're going to find that beauty and that essence of who you are, more so than ever before. And that's what we're at. That's the beauty of where we're at. And yeah, this is it's crazy, right? So, what I think is actually true, from 2025 to 2028, institutional stress will peak. AI is going to reshape the economy, the economics. Political power structurals are going to strain, and spiritual interest is going to rise. And this is where the financial system is going to wobble before stabilizing. That's enough transformation without, you know, um, predicting aircraft exploding, which I kind of see there's going to be some kind of explosion that's going to happen with some kind of. Anyways, I do. I keep seeing something exploding. But here it is. This is where we're at. We're at the a critical, beautiful energy that is bringing in a new framework for us all, and a world definitely that we have not lived in before. So I'm going to send you guys out with so much love. If you're wanting to join me for the March, April, May, definitely let me know. It's $150 for all 3 months. And join me on this journey of change. Join me on this journey of transformation. Love you all. May the Lord and Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you in all you say and all you be and all you do. Have a blessed one, and we'll talk to you very soon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.